All right, I am here with Danny Sabatello, Bellator Bantamweight, fighting at Bellator 294 in Hawaii later this month. Danny, you're an outspoken guy to say the least, so tell me, let's get right to it. Marcus Breno, what's in store for him on April 21st?
Yeah, a lot of pain, a lot of blood, a lot of suffering. I think this is a fight where I can go out there and absolutely dominate this guy. I know he's got a pretty good win his last fight in Bellator, which was his first fight against Josh Hill. But as we know, Josh Hill is not very good, so it's kind of hard to tell how good this guy really is. Regardless of how good he is, there's no way he's as good as me. There's no way he trains harder and smarter than me. So I think this is a fight that's going to be very fun for me, where I can go out there and just have fun the entire time and just absolutely show my mixed martial arts skills and just impose my will on him.
You mentioned the performance against Josh Hill. From what you've seen of Breno, is there anything in particular that he does that impresses you that you've got to watch out for?
No, not really. I think he's more of a striker than anything. I've watched a few of his fights, most of which seem like he's most comfortable on the feet. He's a little bit shorter. He's like 5'6" or so, which is pretty small for the weight class. I'm very tall at 5'10". So, when I'm looking at his fights, he's fought all smaller guys and he's very balanced and composed on the feet. He throws very hard. I think he's got a lot of power, but again, when you're fighting another short guy like Josh Hill, you don't really have to worry too much about the distance because the guy's the same height as you. When you fight somebody like me that's so tall and long and lengthy, you kind of get in a little bit of trouble trying to come into distance with me because my jab will keep the distance and keep you away from me. Yeah, again, he's just powerful, I guess, if he lands a heavy punch, but I just think my defense is too intact for him to land that heavy punch. So as long as I fight smart, long, and hard and keep the pace up, I don't think there's any threat that he poses.
Gotcha. Well, this card is the first of back-to-back nights in Hawaii. That's become a Bellator tradition. Night two features the Bantamweight Grand Prix finale, Stots versus Mix. You were part of that. You went to the semifinal. Obviously, didn't go the way you wanted there, but we know if the fight falls through tomorrow, they're probably going to reschedule it because they want to keep the final intact. If something happens real short notice, however, and they need to salvage that card, has there been any talk that you might step in to take someone's place if they fall out?
No, there really hasn't been too much talk. I think that fight will take place no matter what, even if one guy gets injured. But hopefully, one of them does get injured, horrifically, hopefully. But if that does happen, then I'm absolutely willing to step up and fight either of them, to fight both of them at the same time. It doesn't really fucking matter to me. They both suck. I still think I beat Raufeon Stots back in Connecticut. But yeah, if anything were to happen, I would beat the fuck out of either one of those guys in Hawaii. Fingers crossed that something does happen. If they want to fight even before my fight and their fight, if they want to fight during fight week in the hotel, that's fine with me. I don't really care. Both of those guys bug me. I hate both of those guys. But yeah, again, I think I'll fight both of those guys in my career at some point. I don't know when, but I'm very much looking forward to beating the shit out of all these guys.
Well, you kind of touched on my next question there, and that's, you still feel you won that fight. With some time having passed since the Stotts fight, I mean, what were your takeaways from it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I think that I won that fight. I know I won that fight. I've went back and I've watched it 7 or 8 times. I'm done watching it now just because it's so frustrating. When I fight Stotts again, I'll probably go back and look at it in terms of a film standpoint. But for now, I'm done with that. I go back and, obviously it's not the most exciting fight because I dominated the entire time. I think I had around 12 minutes of control time on the ground. I really don't know what the judges were really looking for. Neither of us, honestly, imposed too much damage on the other. It's not like I was hitting him with strikes left and right. It's not like I was going for submissions left and right. And then him the same. He didn't hit me at all. He didn't go for submissions at all. So obviously, after all that, who has more control? And that's me by a mile. So I still don't really understand how he won. He didn't really do anything. It was actually an easy fight in my book. I remember thinking the whole fight, I'm never really in danger and I'm just winning these positions a little easier than I thought. One thing that we underestimated was how shitty his grappling actually is. If you look at the ground, he didn't really do anything. He wasn't hitting me with strikes. I didn't have any damage on me. But obviously that was good because right after that fight, I went right back into training because obviously I had no injuries, nothing hurt on me. But you know what? You just take your next steps forward. It's not the end of the day. I'll end up beating the fuck out of that guy. My story doesn't end until I beat the shit out of Raufeon Stots and get my revenge. And that day will come. But until then, I just keep climbing toward the belt. And first things first is beating the shit out of Marcus Breno in Hawaii.
Absolutely. And there's always the possibility that it's not Stotts who has the belt when you get there. I mean, we have an interesting situation in the Bellator bantamweight division right now because you've got Stotts and Mix fighting for the interim title. You've got Sergio Pettis coming back. He's now healthy, ready to go. He's not fighting the interim champ. He's fighting Patricio Pitbull, who's dropping down in weight, looking for that third world title. What do you think of that situation? And do you think at all that Bellator is kind of doing Pettis a solid here by not having him fight a friend potentially in Stotts?
Yeah, I mean, first things first, it's very exciting time right now in the Bellator bantamweight division. We are just absolutely stacked. It's probably the deepest weight class in all of MMA. I continue to say Bellator's bantamweight division is the best division in all of MMA, which it is. And now you got a guy like Patricio Pitbull, which is one of the goats in MMA, back in my weight class. So it just makes things even more exciting. There's so many dream matchups, there's so many dream fights. Sergio Pettis has Patricio Pitbull officially. I think Pitbull wins, barring a good weight cut and him making the weight and him actually performing to his ability. But the good thing is for him that even if he doesn't perform that well, he'll probably beat the shit out of Pettis because Pettis sucks. So it's a good thing for him. I don't know if it's good for Raufeon or Pettis that they're not fighting each other or whatever it is. I don't really pay too much attention to the friendships and this shit. To me, this isn't the friendship business. This is the fighting business. I don't really give a fuck if Stotts is friends with Pettis or Patchy's friends with Stotts or any of these guys are really friends, which, they really all are. It's kind of funny. When I go to these fight weeks, these guys are all friends with each other. They're all dapping each other up, high-fiving and wishing each other luck. And it's just so cute. It just makes me kind of sick. These guys are absolutely friends with each other and they go out and they fight each other. I don't really get it. I'll never be like that. But yeah, I think Patricio beats Pettis and then has the winner of that Stotts and Patchy fight.
When you talk about not being friends with guys in the sport, then how do you handle things at the gym? Because you're going to work with guys, you're probably going to bond, you go through wars together. I mean, do you have friends in the gym at least?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'm the number one teammate. I'm very loyal to my teammates. I'm a very loyal guy. That's why I've stayed with one gym my entire career. That's why I will stay with the best gym in the world, that American Top Team. Obviously I have those friendships and those guys are my brothers. I don't really fight my teammates. Hopefully that stays that way and I never have to fight my teammate. But you know what? I'll fight anybody. I have a goal, I have a dream, and that's to be the world champion, the best fighter in the entire world. And I don't really care who's in my way. But I hope it's not a teammate. I am friends with all these guys at the gym. Those are the only guys I really give a fuck about. Other than my teammates fighting on TV, I don't really watch fighting that much. It just doesn't interest me. Half the time these guys are boring anyways, and the guys are friends and they hug each other. I'd rather watch a bar fight where two people fucking hate each other and want to kill each other than I would rather watch two friends hug it out before. But that's just me. Yeah, I'm very friendly with the guys in the gym. I always have my teammates back. I'm the most loyal guy in the gym. If my teammate is fighting somebody, I absolutely hate the guy that they're fighting. That's just who I am. It's not really how it is in MMA. I see people trying to be friends with everybody no matter what, even if somebody's trying to fight their teammate. And again, that's just not me. That'll never be me. But a lot of people are like that, and that's fine. But a lot of people are also pussies. So it is what it is.
When you talk about ATT down in Florida, one name often comes to mind. That's Jorge Masvidal. He retired over the weekend. What can you say about his career?
Yeah, Masvidal is just an OG of the game. He's probably my favorite fighter. He's just an awesome guy, and if you ask anybody at American Top Team, he is the team captain here. He's the guy that kind of holds it all together. He's the fighter that everybody watches and wants to succeed. He's the nicest guy in the world. I still remember my first couple months at American Top Team when I was a nobody and not really having my fight career started. He worked with me a lot, for no reason. He had big fights coming up. He didn't have to invest the time in me. And right when I got to ATT, we kind of set a bond and we kind of were drawn to each other. And that guy has taught me a lot of things. And taught me a lot of things, about experience and not just techniques, but how to handle yourself and how to go about business and everything. So that's a guy that will have a huge staple in MMA. I'll always be in his corner. That guy's always going to be successful no matter what he does. I'm so happy that he's had such a successful career, a happy career. Things have really gone his way. And it was time for him to hang it up in his book. Obviously, you could still beat a lot of guys in that division, but he's fighting the top fucking guys. And he's been fighting the top guys throughout his whole career, which is why he is the BMF. He is the baddest motherfucker. A lot of these guys can come into MMA and have a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That guy's had about 20 years where he's been on top. So you know what? His accolades speak for itself, and if you know him, then he's an even better person, and he's as loyal as they come, and that's what I fucking love.
Well, that's very, very cool to hear. This is a left field question. Maybe I've watched Fight Club too many times because that's kind of where this comes from. But if you could fight anyone in the world, alive or dead, who would you fight?
Raufeon Stots.
I like it. Get the revenge. One last one before I let you go, Danny. Really appreciate the time today. How does this go down April 21st? What's your call for this fight?
Yeah, it's going to be me dominating this guy. I'm going to put on a very impressive performance. Ever since my last fight with Stotts, I've only gotten better. I went right back to the gym, and I've been pissed off ever since. So right now, I kind of compare myself to an angry pit bull, going out there viciously, and I think I'm going to just absolutely school this motherfucker in Hawaii, and I think it'll be a second round TKO.
Love it. Danny Sabatello, April 21st, Bellator 294. Looking forward to the fight.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Danny. You have a great day.
You too.